Maxi Sayonara is leading the charge down the New South Wales coast tonight in the Sydney Hobart Race. Running under spinnaker, the leading yachts are spearing south at speeds of 15 to 18 knots. The chance of adverse winds in Bass Strait seemingly the only obstacle to a new race record. Earlier, people lined Sydney Harbour for the annual Boxing Day spectacle as the fleet got underway in the race to the heads.
Unfazed by an earlier finger injury, Rupert Murdoch was among the hundreds of crew enjoying their last drink on shore. And if all goes well for the American yacht Sayonara, Mr. Murdoch will be one of the first back on dry land.
Okay, in Hobart.
For the others, it was a chance for last-minute checks and to store final provisions. The last job for the skippers before getting on board is to check the latest weather.
What I'd suggest is staying close to the coast in the early part of the afternoon, and as you get towards the evening, just progressively go further offshore.
Once on the course, the 15-knot nor'easter would ensure an upwind battle to the heads.
This northeasterly breeze is strengthening.
As many as 1 million people gathered for the spectacle.
1 second to go. Bang! There it is. At the 51st Telstra Mobile Net Sydney Hobart Yacht Race is underway.
With Ian Murray at the helm, Australian Maxi Fudge had the best start, leading her more favoured rivals as they beat up to the heads.
This is the dangerous time. They've got to pick their time to cross back across the harbour. They can get pinned here.
Brindabella using her right-of-way to check Sayonara.
This is Sayonara being forced attack underneath Brindabella.
Then disaster for the unexpected leader Fudge, with the mainsail tearing.
They'll most likely have to drop the mainsail there, Rob, to get that under control.
What rotten luck here for the boys on board Fudge. The back corner of the sail literally tore out there.
Sayonara seized the chance to take the lead, rounding the seaward mark well clear of Brindabella.
She's got a handsome lead here.
Brindabella taking out her frustration on Fudge, forcing her to tack. But once Sayonara's spinnaker was up, it was only spectator boats with powerful motors keeping up.
It's like a powerboat race.
Downwind flyer Foxtel Amazon also looking forward to the run down the coast.
The boat was handled very well, and it's going particularly good now. We've got it trimmed out and everybody's relaxed. We had a bit of lunch earlier, and we're looking forward to a uneventful and fast night.
The race leaders have now passed Wollongong. Sayonara is still in front, but Brindabella, accompanied by a pod of dolphins, is gaining. A little further out to sea, in third place, is Foxtel Amazon, while Fudge, which damaged her sail, is in fourth position. To break the race record, Sayonara will have to maintain a 10-knot average and reach the finish line in Hobart before 3:36 a.m. on Friday.
Whales are proving the big hazard so far for the Sydney to Hobart fleet. The alert has gone out after one yacht was forced to withdraw after hitting one of the huge mammals. Future Shock suffered serious structural damage, but made it safely into Eden late this afternoon. Sayonara is still the clear leader, but the pace has slowed, reducing the chances of a new record. Michael Troy is following the race in the ABC helicopter.
First light revealed a new race leader. Downwind flyer Foxtel Amazon had revelled in yesterday's nor'easter. Skipper Peter Walker couldn't help but smile as his boat steadily gained on race favourite Sayonara.
Green tie curry, fresh night out. Boat hits the front, what more can a bloke ask for? Sayonara in here, Sayonara.
By dusk, they'd overhauled the American speedster, but in the middle of the night, the northerly wind died, eventually replaced at dawn by a weak southwesterly.
We're trying to stay a little east of Sayonara and Brindabella, and we've got some southeasterlies to northeasterlies today, which we're trying to get better use of by staying this side of them. So hopefully we can clear Gabo Island and enter Bass Strait in good shape.
All the crew of Sayonara had been working hard to keep up a record-breaking pace.
Everybody's had a very long night, including Rupert. Larry was up all night, Rupert was up most of the night. Very tricky sailing, particularly for midnight on.
George Snow's Brindabella just a few miles behind. But as the wind began to freshen, a new problem surfaced for the fleet. Dozens of whales crossed the path of the competitors, some with disastrous results.
Yeah, we've torn the rudder stock practically out of the back of the boat. We've got water seeping in. We're mopping it up. We've tied the rudder stock back into the boat, and we're jury-rigged down with our sails. We've got our spare rudder on deck just to go in case we do lose what we have in the back.
Late this afternoon, Future Shock limped into the port of Eden on the New South Wales south coast. In the race for handicap honours, The all-female crew of Mortgage Choice was discussing tactics.
Well, we seemed to do quite well. We had enough lovely nor'easter all night, and we kept going out to sea, and now we're just coming back into shore with a sou'easter.
The radio relay vessel Young Endeavour keeping a close eye on the fleet as the first southerly front moved in.
Brindabella 3613-15045.
The relatively easy part of the voyage over, the race leaders were this afternoon preparing for a bumpy ride across the notorious Bass Strait.
This cold front here is moving through Bass Strait later this evening.
At their last reported positions, Sayonara was again in the lead, Foxtel Amazon second, and Brindabella struggling to keep up, with Fudge further back. Sayonara was 15 miles behind a record-breaking pace, but if the wind strengthens tonight, she could still set a new mark early on Friday morning.
It'll be close, but time is running out for the American Maxi Sayonara to break the 20-year-old Sydney to Hobart race record. Nearly 2 days of southerly winds have slowed the fleet, putting Sayonara behind the pace set by Kealoha in 1975. But Sayonara is still well ahead of her nearest rival Brindabella as they head down the east coast of Tasmania.
The American Maxi's introduction to the notorious Bass Strait was incident-free, but brisk with a 35-knot sou'westerly.
It was very, very uncomfortable, very nasty chop out here. We were pushing the boat very hard. Thankfully, everything held together. The boys...
The illustrious crew also doing well.
Larry and Rupert holding up well. You can see them sitting on the rail. They've been pulling their weight, doing a great job.
It'll take more than good crew work to break the race record, though.
It's going to be very, very, very tough.
Brindabella fell further behind overnight when the main halyard broke.
We had significant problems. We had mantle off for quite some time, and we lost a lot of time and a lot of mileage over.
The crew of Amazon Foxtel showed they hadn't lost their sense of humour after they fell back to third place in the reaching conditions.
All in all, it's been quite a good night for us. Everybody's pretty happy, I think. One or two people have lost their dinner during the evening, but that's to be expected, I suppose, in these conditions.
While the leaders are expected to finish early tomorrow morning, many of the smaller members of the fleet are still negotiating Bass Strait.
Everybody's pretty wet, eh? Yeah, pretty wet. Had a couple been sick, but everybody's in very good spirits. Good. Can't wait to get to Hobart.
Conditions in Bass Strait are now easing, with winds dropping to 15 knots and seas decreasing. The navigator on Mortgage Choice, Gay Bristow, suffered a slight concussion in a fall, but the boat is continuing to Hobart. Meanwhile, Queensland yacht Boomeroo put in at Eden after one of her crew members was injured.
It was blowing a bit and I just came up. We were dropping a headsail as the wind picked up a bit and let the jammer off and the winch handle knocked me in the jaw here.
So it almost a king hit?
Yeah, pretty much so.
Whales and sunfish continue to cause problems, with 2 more boats reporting collisions. Late this afternoon, Sayonara was about 40 kilometres in the lead, with Brindabella and Amazon losing ground. Sid Fisher's Ragamuffin leading on handicap. For Sayonara to break the race record, she'll have to cross the finish line in Hobart before 3:36 tomorrow morning.
Good evening, Angela Pearman with ABC News. American Maxi Sayonara has taken line honours in the Sydney to Hobart. But for billionaire owner Larry Ellison, it was a disappointing finish. He'd hoped to smash the 20-year-old race record with his state-of-the-art Maxi. However, last night, a forecast 30-knot wind failed to arrive and Sayonara was left almost becalmed. The race is now on for handicap honours. Victorian boat Seaview Challenge leads from Quest of New South Wales, both still more than 100 nautical miles from the finish.
The last thing the crew of Sayonara wanted to see this morning was the sunrise. In order to break the race record, they needed to be tied up outside Constitution Dock, but it had been a frustrating night.
The conditions were horrible. We had it very light from all directions most of the night, Michael. It was pretty obvious early on we weren't going to do it.
To add to their frustrations, Storm Bay was not living up to its name.
As obviously the wind has just crumped out completely here. So we're looking at a mid-afternoon finish, I would think, at best.
20 miles further back, George Snow's Brindabella was closing the gap near Tasman Island. It was an impossible task, though, after he'd fallen well behind going into Bass Strait with gear failure. The light conditions had also frustrated the crew of Foxtel Amazon, who could do little else than look after more basic needs. By midday, Sayonara was finally into the Derwent River and the home stretch, eventually crossing the finish line at 1:53. For billionaire owner Larry Ellison and his well-known crew, it was a rewarding moment.
Unbelievable experience to win the first Sydney Hobart I was in. Just phenomenal. It's great.
But they couldn't hide the disappointment at finishing 10.5 hours outside the record time.
This boat had had wind from anywhere at all. You know, we'd have the southern blow, anything at all.
We thought we had a great shot at the record, but the wind gods said no.
We were still in with a chance at the record, and then of course we got into the top island of Tasmania, and it all turned to jelly beans.
Ironically, the strong wind Sayonara needed so desperately to break the record has come in just an hour after she crossed the finishing line. Whether all the crew will try again is doubtful.
Certainly not next year. Maybe I'm too old. I'll see if my sons get interested, then I'll be back.
Another one who might not return is George Snow. He'd spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get Brindabella ready for this year's race, but a line honours victory eluded him for a third time.
7 minutes last year, 2 hours this year, I don't know. Maybe I'm going backwards. Maybe I should go and play golf.
The hard work may be over for the crew of Sayonara, but for the majority of the fleet, it'll be another night at sea.